ShakeTube. So here we are for our last week. This week we are doing the Tempest, and this is one of Shakespeare's last plays. The last play that he wrote entirely by himself. He had a couple of plays after this one that other writers wrote parts of. Um, so yeah, this is considered one of his late romances, or as they're sometimes referred to as tragic comedies. Um, so it's a story of Prospero, who is this sort of sorcerer who lives on this island with his daughter Miranda and his two servants, Caliban and Ariel. And at the beginning of the play, there's a crew on a ship, which has the Duke of Milan on it, and the King of Naples, and the son of the King of Naples, among others. Um, and at the beginning of the play, Prospero has his servant Ariel create a tempest, because that's something he can do. And this ship sinks, and the crew is washed onto the island. And essentially, the rest of the play is Prospero trying to get himself back together with these people, because the Duke of Milan, who is on the ship, is Prospero's brother. But his brother and him didn't part on good terms. Prospero used to be the Duke of Milan, but he wasn't very good at it. He was kind of wrapped up in his books all the time, and it's made clear that he really was kind of a bad duke, or at least a lazy one. And so his brother just kind of decided to depose him and then banish him. For a lot of the play, you're expecting Prospero to, or at least a lot of the characters expect that Prospero wants to get revenge on his brother and on the King of Naples, and has these malicious intents. But in the end, he just wants to get them back together so that they can all go back to Milan and live happily ever after. Which is kind of this sort of subversive postmodern plot, which I find kind of interesting. How this when these older authors like Shakespeare or like Cervantes and Don Quixote, I haven't read Don Quixote, but I've heard that it has a lot of sort of postmodern qualities. How these older authors kind of predicted these newer movements. I think is pretty interesting. This play, I don't know, it's kind of a bit of an anticlimax after, all these grand tragedies, after, Hamlet and Macbeth and King Lear and Antony and Cleopatra. It just kind of, it seemed very small and almost insignificant. Not that it really is, and, like, I did enjoy the play. I just, it was such a different play from the ones that came before it, and so much smaller and less powerful, I think. And so it was a bit of an anticlimax, as I said. But but I did find that I thought that the language in this play was a bit easier to follow. I didn't need much help reading the play. I didn't really need I didn't really even need plot summaries. I like to have plot summaries of the acts as I go along, just so I can keep track of what's going on. But I really didn't need that for the Tempest. I was able to just read it as it was, with a bit of foreknowledge of what happens. When I watched a production of I found it very easy to follow what everyone was saying. And I don't know if that's because the production was just particularly good, or the actors were particularly good, but I thought that the language was beautiful, but easy to get. When I listened to what the people were saying in the production, I always knew what they were saying, and got the gist of what we needed to know, and could also appreciate the beauty of it, which is something that I have a hard time with in a lot of other productions I've watched, which I think is due to the complexity of the language and not necessarily to the production itself. In terms of thoughts on this play, I don't have that many. I thought, I know that this play is sometimes interpreted as sort of a look at colonialism, because there's this character named Caliban, who is the son of this witch named Sycorax, who Prospero killed, and Caliban, I guess, presumably was a baby at the time, and Prospero just kind of took Caliban and made him his servant. And Ariel is also his servant, but it's a bit of a different relationship. The reason that Prospero killed Sycorax was actually because Sycorax was keeping Ariel hostage, and so Prospero saved his life, and so Ariel actually owes him something, and they had a deal that Ariel would serve him for 12 years and then be set free. And at the end of the play, Ariel is set free, and they part on good terms, and they have an amiable relationship, it seems. But Caliban is kind of screwed up. At first, Prospero tried to treat him nicely, took him let him live in the same cave that Prospero and Miranda is Prospero's daughter, the same cave that they lived in. Miranda tried to be nice to Caliban, but then Caliban at one point tried to rape Miranda, and so from that point on, he was kept out of their cave and made to live in his own little hovel. And while you can sympathize with him for being resentful. I mean, obviously, what did Prospero expect enslaving this guy, even if he's trying to be nice to him? But at the same time, you can't exactly forgive him for trying to rape this innocent little girl. So Caliban's a complicated character, and I was pretty intrigued by him. And in the production I watched, he was played by Richard Burton, and he did a great job. He didn't steal the show because the actor who played Prospero there was also excellent, and a lot of the other actors too. But he in particular stood out to me as an interesting character. And then during the course of this play, he spends a lot of the time plotting to kill Prospero. And so I just thought it was interesting how this play looked at these two different servants with very different experiences with servitude, and it does seem very easy to look at it in this colonial sense of white people enslaving black people or Native Americans and things like this. But I don't want to reduce the play to just that political message, because I thought it was also just a kind of nice, fun piece of entertainment, I guess. For a lot of the play, Ariel kind of thinks that Prospero wants revenge on these people he's stranded on this island, but then at the last minute he switches it, and so it's nice. Anyway, again, not many terribly deep thoughts about this play, but so anyway, this is our last day on ShakeTube. So it's been great for everyone who stuck it out, and everyone who had to drop too. I mean, I know some people just life got in the way, so it's not like I blame anyone for leaving. But it was great to see everyone's videos, everyone who made videos, everyone who commented. Anyway, that's all I got. So thanks, guys. Bye.